Hello! We have 3 stories today of gloriously petty revenge. But it's a bit of a mixed bag of some of my favorites from all over because there was a lot of cross-posting funny business. Our first story was my favorite and even made it onto the pages of Newsweek. I didn't realize Reddit posts were news these days, but heck, who am I to argue? Strange times on the internet and all that, I guess. But what it lacks in newsworthiness, it gives back tenfold in warm justice tingles. As one girlfriend looks to make a point by messing with her man's car, failing to realize just how special and valuable it really is until it's too late. Story 1. So, for a bit of context, my girlfriend and I have known each other for around 4 years, but started dating during 2021. That car has been passed down for generations. By the way, it's a 1972 Ford F100. My grandpa owned it, then passed it down to my dad, then passed down to me. I don't drive it too often, as I do have my own car, but I use it for work. Recently, we've gotten into an argument over me not taking care of our 2 cats. Thing is, I spent almost all day working, and the rest of it resting. So, what did she do? She got the pickup truck, went to a junkyard, and sold it. Worst part? She sold it for $400. Keep in mind, this truck was in pristine condition. When I got back home from the bar, I noticed the pickup wasn't there. I asked her, and she told me what she did. I instantly packed up my things, my cat, told her we were done, and left. I've been getting calls from her, her family, and friends every day calling me names. Am I in the wrong? Relevant comments from OP. First time we had an argument over chores. Last argument we had was about her disappearing on me for 9 hours without any previous notice. That was about a month ago. Thing is, it's not like I just didn't take care of the cats at all. I just was really busy with work and got back home really tired. Also, keep in mind that I was the breadwinner in the house. I had an agreement that she would do the chores. I put food on the table. I still love the cats and fed them. Update 1, the next day. 2 things. I have talked to my lawyer cousin. He said I could have a solid case if this goes to court. Though honestly, after all the grief I've been through, I want my pickup back and some more for what happened. I doubt the police are going to do anything after a couple of bad experiences I've had with them. My ex came knocking on my door. I ignored her. Don't want anything to do with that woman anymore. My dad also got the news and was super sad, considering that truck was pretty much the family's breadwinner for about 30 years. Update 2, 2 days later. Thanks for the advice again. I have now filed a police report for the stolen F100. I have hope it can be done. I am also doing my own bit of research, driving to a couple nearby junkyards, but I doubt I'll find it on my own. I hope we can find the old green F100 we love so much. Update 3, later in the same day. The F100 has been found on a nearby junkyard by a friend. So, people have been asking these things, so I feel like I should clarify. 1. It's not like I took no care of the cats at all. I did. She doesn't work. I put the bread in the table, she gets the house chores done. That's how we managed it, which is why I feel like this was petty. 2. I went to a bar to hang out with a friend I had not seen in 5 years. I don't drink heavily or often. 3. The signature was forged by my girlfriend from what I know at the moment. Or the guy just took it because it was a $9,600 profit. The junkyard opens at 12:30 today. It's currently 5 a.m. here, so I'm still going to have to wait for a while. As you might be able to tell, today was quite a crazy day. Haven't gotten 1 minute of sleep. Update 4, even later that same day. So, I have the F100 back. Over a day of no sleep, work, and panic, and it's finally over. She's been charged with a Class 1 felony for stealing a car worth more than $10,000. She's been fined $5,000. Finally back from the garage with the truck. I'm so tired. I'll take a nap now. I'll update you guys more thoroughly tomorrow. I don't feel like explaining every detail right now. It's 7:09 p.m. and I'm really tired of this garbage. Update 5, 3 days later. I have the truck back. The F100 is actually back. I did have to pay the $400 back though, and it's not as good as it was before. It's really dirty. Probably from driving to the junkyard, which is pretty dirty. And the bodywork that was once pristine is now damaged. It was a huge scratch on the paint. It was a really sharp key or something because the bodywork is now ruined. It has started flash rusting, which is really not good. The paint is ruined. The truck itself isn't as great as before. I can tell she broke the brake fluid line as well because the brakes are running badly. Good news though, my girlfriend has been charged with a Class 1 felony for grand theft auto and fined $5,000. Don't worry though, I will still follow through with the lawsuit. In the comments, Starry Skies said, I genuinely don't understand the thought process of the ex. Like, did she think he wasn't going to go back for the car? And all of this over cats when he provided everything? Why ruin your life over something that dumb? Instead of just having a conversation. Adhesiveness Limp replied, I don't think the end result mattered. This read like her just punishing him to be as hurtful as possible, assuming all of the context was given. Jean-Benet Beanie Baby asked, also, how was the truck once the breadwinner? Eduardo Fonseca added, I think he meant the truck used to be the only method of transportation for OP and or his father. A verb is a word asked, already rusting? Is that possible? Gerb said, it was perfect until she took it to the junkyard, and now it's junk? Is it possible that it's always just been junk? Z&Z Bandana replied, but it's a 50-year-old truck that was a workhorse for 30 years. Of course it's in pristine condition. Gerbs added, you know that Noah never even had a formal arc. He used that very truck, and it was fine, until it went to the junkyard, because of the dirt. Those comments are the best. Definitely not cool to steal other people's stuff and sell it, especially if there is sentimental value. But is it just me, or do these two seem like two peas in a pod? The drama and exaggeration. My goodness. Does it really seem likely that the ex-girlfriend broke the brake fluid line at the junkyard? I mean, she wouldn't cut it before driving it, would she? Oh, just a minute, sir. I need to do some damage before I take your money for this hunk of junk. And there might be a few details missing from this one. Our second story is one I'm grabbing from that mixed bag, because it's actually from Entitled People. But the schadenfreude of watching someone's bad behavior get turned back on them gave me goosebumps, and I knew where it really belonged. In our next story, one woman finds a family member in desperate need after a sudden tragic loss, and decides to give them a break with a family discount. Only that family discount doesn't go far when you double bill for desperation. Who needs a family when you have money? Or so she thought until years later when the tables turn. Story 2. My child's daycare had a death in the family. It's a small family-owned place, so this affected all the employees. They sent out an email at like 3 a.m. I couldn't miss work as I had a very important day, so I scrambled to find a sitter just for that day. My stepbrother's girlfriend was basically the only person I know that doesn't work, so I called her. She says, sure, but I can only watch him for 6 hours and I'll give you my family rate, so it will only be $200. I asked if she was serious. She assured me she was, and that this was her livelihood and she takes it very seriously. That she was already offering me a family discount. Please note that it was not her livelihood. My stepbrother has a great job and has always paid for everything. He has tried to get her to do anything to earn money, but she refuses to work and believes he should support her fully, including daily Starbucks, hair, nails, designer stuff, etc. Please also note that I had done a lot for this girl just to help her out. The list is long. I agreed only because I would have lost my job had I not gone to work that day. I paid her $200, which she demanded up front, to get to work for a little over 4 hours after factoring commute. Fast forward a couple of years. They have separated, they have a kid, and she is living for free in his dad's extra house and driving my dad's extra car for free. The ex pays all the bills and necessities. She finally breaks down and gets a job because he stopped paying for her hair, nails, etc. She has a day when her childcare falls through and sends out the same request I did. Can anyone watch my kid? I have to go to work or I'll get fired. I told her I could absolutely do it, then charged her the same bogus price she charged me. I told her it was the family rate. She cussed me out. Edit. Why would either of us get fired has been asked a ton. Here's why. I was scheduled to teach a seminar for about 400 people. This was extremely expensive to the company once you factor all the logistics of closing operations for a day, etc. If I would have last minute canceled, it would have cost them the same twice. Under normal circumstances, I can miss work for an emergency, but not during something like that. I'm a salary employee, so I usually work about 60 hours a week. Taking off after lunch or something isn't a big deal. It was just the magnitude of the event. She worked a job that anyone was qualified for and was on the chopping block for missing work all the time. You don't say! Also, it was not her livelihood. At some point before she got with my stepbrother, she was babysitting for a family for a couple of weeks, but they fired her for being unreliable. I'm seeing a pattern here. She recognized the position I was in and threw out a number because she knew I had no choice but to pay it. Also note, she cussed me out when I tried to charge her the exact thing she charged me, so no, I wasn't just being cheap. In the comments, Dryclock asked, "Did she pay?" OP replied, "Heck no. I make great money and she knew I was in a position where I had no choice but to pay. So she took advantage of the situation. She was maybe earning $500 a week total, so she definitely couldn't pay the same rate she charged me." Throwaway747 said, "Fair's fair. Good of you to give her the family rate considering she's ex-family now, really." OP replied, "Kid is family, but I'd really be glad to not have to deal with her anymore for sure. The entitlement is strong with this one." Caramel Cactus said, "I don't know what a good rate is for babysitting, but if she got mad at the same price while not being charged extra a few years later, that's just a thing of beauty." OP replied, "I usually pay $10 to $15 an hour for a date night, etc. She was charging over $30 an hour. Professional nannies make more. People in big cities charge more. The more kids you have, the more it costs, etc. We live super rurally, and $10 to $15 is pretty high for this area." Wow, it's really unfortunate that OP's brother didn't observe the massive red flag that was his then-girlfriend charging his sister $200 in a time of need. She just needed a favor. I mean, that was no virtual safety car kind of flag. That was a full-on, stop everything and hightail it out of there kind of flag. I wouldn't even charge a neighbor if they were in a pinch, never mind family. Jeez. Our third story is our last. Another from Cece's mixed bag of goodies, that came quite timely to include along with an homage to a fallen friend. We've had a great loss here in Cece land, as my espresso maker failed on me yesterday. Luckily, I called some friends and they came and took him to a coffee shop out in the country where the aroma of freshly ground beans always fills the air, where baristas dance gracefully behind the counter, and the sound of bubbling espresso creates a symphony of caffeine-induced joy. So magical. But not as magical as my new machine I immediately ran out to buy. Editing Cece runs on pure caffeinated adrenaline. So does normal Cece, but we don't talk about her. Then we'd have to admit we have a problem, and ignoring it is the way to go. Just like the woman in our next story. Story 3. My husband loves coffee. He is the only one in the house who drinks it. Coffee gives me acidity and insomnia, so I don't drink it. Recently, he bought a fancy machine that makes delicious coffee. The only problem is that the coffee trickles down drop by drop. It takes around 4 to 5 minutes to fill a tumbler, but can feel like forever if you have nothing else to do but stand there and watch it trickle down. I get the coffee machine going every morning while getting dear daughter ready for school and making her breakfast. When he comes down after getting ready, his tumbler is ready to go. He leaves, then I take dear daughter to school, come back, and work from home. So recently, I had an injury that left me bedridden. Luckily, it was dear daughter's midterm break, so there was no pressure of getting up early to prepare her meal and take her to school. Only thing left was the coffee. Husband says, "No problem, I will make it myself." Day 1, 2, 3. He makes the coffee, also cleans the machine after every use. Day 4. This is too much and wasting my time. Me, why don't you switch on the machine tomorrow and get back upstairs to get ready? We live in a duplex bedroom and dressing room upstairs, kitchen and living room downstairs. Also, he has stopped cleaning the machine. Day 5. He is upset because he had to run up and down twice to tend to his coffee. My next suggestion, move your toiletries to the downstairs washroom for a few days so you can get ready there. I'm not comfortable with that. Well, now the only solution left is to wake up early. Day 6, 7, 8. He wakes up early to make his coffee. He no longer cleans the machine. Day 8, evening. I'm very tired. My sleep cycle is whacked. Looks like you need to make more coffee. Day 9. He is now side-eyeing me and guilt-tripping, hoping I would crawl down the stairs to make his coffee. Not happening. So he calls up the maid and tells her to start coming early to make his coffee. She is a part-time helper and there's no way she'll come this early. Day 10. He has given up. Now he is buying his coffee from outside and the machine remains unused. Edit. I have no idea about coffee and coffee machines. It does not have a timer. Not so fancy then, I suppose. In the comments, Friendly Beyond said, whatever you do, don't ever make his coffee again. If it's too much of an effort for him, it certainly is too much of an effort for you. B-Barb added, this is the way. August said, it's a good thing he didn't get a French press. Night Otter added, had a coworker who got into fancy coffee, like coffee grinder, French press, fancy coffee beans. He was grinding coffee beans at his desk. Manager put a stop to that on day 2. So he's in the break room 3 to 5 times a day. He liked his coffee for 20 minutes at a time. Manager told him burning over an hour and a half a day making coffee was too much. He decided it was too much work and went back to the swill from the company coffee machine. Lumpy Machine said, I would like to thank the people of Reddit for the daily reminders to stay single. Oh my gosh. OP's husband is no coffee connoisseur, I assure you. The first rule of Coffee Club is you do not talk about Coffee Club. The second rule of Coffee Club is you do not talk about Coffee Club. The third rule of Coffee Club is you get a good machine. The fourth rule of Coffee Club is you revel in using said machine. The fifth rule of Coffee Club is make sure that everyone knows how good your machine is. Pff. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, Starlight. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.